Hello and welcome along to Edge Animate with your host, Robert Smith. In this part 3 of animating a logo, we're actually going to get to do some animating now. Well, we've set up our scene like this, where we've got a couple of layers with a circle and a stroke, if you like, and some background layers as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start animating this red D, which is this stroke, if you like, of the stylized D. Now, to animate in Edge Animate, I'll just turn these two things off first before we do that. It's much the same as it is in After Effects and Flash. We use keyframes to do it. So let's get to animating. The first thing I want to do is set up my starting position. Like in any animation, we always have a starting position. And over here in the transform section, you'll see this is the rotating part over here. I'm going to type in 90 degrees like that. And you'll notice now that that layer has rotated around this origin point here on the bottom left hand corner. Okay, now it's time to turn on my auto keyframe and my auto transition. So as I apply keyframes, Edge Animate will do the filling in for me, or the in-betweening if you like. Okay, so I'm going to put a keyframe by clicking on that little keyframe icon, and you'll notice now I've got a keyframe on the layer. I'm going to grab my playback head and drag it to about 3/4 of a second like that, and then I'm going to grab this number. I'll change it down here. I could change it here or I could change it here, doesn't matter. I'll type in 0 and I've got this lovely little animation, and you'll notice Edge Animate, because we have this selected, this auto transition, it will give us this beautiful little animation. Okay, so let's add a little bit of ease to that. Most animations benefit from a little bit of ease, which is an attempt to try and simulate physics, if you like. So to apply ease to that layer, I'm going to select it like that. Click on this little fourth icon here. Click on Ease Out and Cubic. Double click on Cubic. You can play around with those eases. They give you all sorts of crazy effects, but that'll do. It starts off a bit slow and then accelerates into position, but it's quite a subtle effect, but looks quite good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that layer, and I'm also going to close it up, this little twirly thing, just to keep my layers neat. So I'm going to select that and Apple D or Control D on the PC to duplicate that, and I'll do it once more. So now I've got two copies, if you like. They're doing exactly the same thing, so you won't see any difference. Now I want to change the colors. Now the top layer, this one here of the 3 layers involved, I'm going to double click that and call it red underscore stroke, like that. I might even press return. The next one down, I'm going to turn the vision off by clicking on that little eye. So now we can see this second layer down like that. Click on this one, and I'm going to go up here and change the color of it to a greenish color. That'll do, something like that. Now I'll click on plus here to add that to my swatches. Very nice. And now I need to double click on that and call it green underscore stroke, like that. And the last one down here, I'll turn that off so we can't see it. Select the last layer down here, like that. And I'm going to change the color of that to a bluish color. Around, it's a little bit too dark, that's about right, and I'll click here to add that to my swatches. So now I've got 3 strokes, if you like, of the stylized letter D, and if I turn the other 2 on, back on again like this. Actually, I might name this last layer first by double clicking that and calling it blue underscore stroke, like that. Okay, and I might even close those up. Now to get the effect I'm looking for, I want the to be a little bit staggered as they animate. So to do that, I'm going to grab the red one and drag it just a little bit to the right, and the green one just a little bit to the right, so grabbing that layer. Let's see the look. That's exactly the look we're after. Maybe it's a little bit too fast, so I might just drag that one to the right a bit more, and this one to the right just a little bit more. Let's play that. That's more like it. Very nice indeed. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to lock those 3 layers and work on this part, this little part, this circle part on the left here, this red circle layer if you like. Now the origin hasn't been moved on this yet because it's right in the middle, and if I was to rotate that, you'll see how it rotates around the middle. We don't want that. What we do want, we want an X origin of 100% and a Y origin of 100%. And you'll notice that puts it right in the bottom right hand corner where we want it, like that. And if I was to rotate it, that's exactly what we want. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to turn off my auto keyframing and auto transition like that, and set up my starting position for this animation. This time it's going to be minus 90 degrees like that. That's our starting point. Then I'll put a keyframe in there like this, then turn on my auto keyframe and my auto transition like this, and I'll go to about 3/4 of a second like that. This time I'm going to change the number down here rather than over here. I'm going to change that to 0, and there's our beautiful animation. Very nice indeed. And I'll apply the same ease that I applied to the other stroke by clicking on here, ease out, cubic, and let's watch that in action. Very nice indeed. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the other layers. I'm going to select that and duplicate it once, Apple D, like that. Now the top layer here, I'll call that red circle. I don't even have to do that. Red circle like that. Now it's not going to let me because I've already got a red circle layer down the bottom down here. So I'm just going to call it by the color just to make life a bit easier. I'll call that red. Oops, red like that. And I'll turn that off, and the next one down, I'll select that. I'm going to make that the green layer. Now because I've put it up here in our swatches, I can just select that. I get exactly the same green color, which is really handy. And we'll just double click on that and call it green like that. And the bottom layer, do this, turn that off now, and the bottom layer, do the same thing. I'm going to select that, go up here. Now because I've already got the blue there, it's exactly the same. I'll click here up in the swatches, and I'll just double click down here and call that blue, and return like that. Okay, I'm going to close up those twirlies. Now what I need to do the same thing I did before. The red thing should be last, so I'll just drag that to about there, that to about there, and I should turn those layers back on so we can see them. And there it is. That's exactly the effect we're after. With our animation, we've started off with a couple of strokes, and it's looking very good. We'll add a bit of typography in the next video. Okay, thanks for watching.